Hello everybody, welcome to BeamNG's newly improved West Coast USA. After years of being broken more often than it's functioned, the most important location on the entire map, the drag strip, has finally received some developer attention, and I'm excited to say that it actually works. Mostly. Gone are the days of waiting through loading screens and AI opponents that can barely drive just for the chance at putting a number on the scoreboard. Now, we simply enter the map in free roam, pull into the beams, and wait for the lights. If you don't launch before the green, crash, or cross the center line, you get a time on the board. The simplicity of that is the reason why, until now, I've created and tested so many of my car builds at the Freedom Factory Bradenton Motorsports Park, which has had that feature from the beginning. I say until now because, unlike Bradenton, the West Coast Strip's timing system actually works like it should, starting when you launch the car and not just when the green light comes on. This is great news because the times we see on the boards here should be a much more accurate measure of performance, uninfluenced by my lack of reaction time skills. With that in mind, today, I'm bringing out the top 15 cars from the fastest drag car series here on the channel, and we'll see how well they really perform now that we're able to mostly take the driver out of the equation. If you want to try one of these for yourself, all of today's builds are as they were when featured in that series, and none of them require or make any use of any game mods whatsoever. If you're building any of these for yourself, let me know in the comments how you're doing. We'll start things off with the Hochi Sunburst. With a turbocharged 2-liter inline 4-cylinder on nitrous and 6-speed sequential transmission, the Sunburst makes over 1100 brake horsepower and made the list at number 15 in Bradenton after an 8.04 175 mph pass. The Sunburst starts things off running at 8.167 at 175 mph. Next up is the ETK 800 series. Its turbocharged 4.4-liter V8 on nitrous makes over 1200 brake horsepower and gears are shifted through a 6-speed sequential transmission. The 800 series comes in here at number 14 on the list on the strength of a 7.86 at 178 mph in Bradenton. The 800 series slower here on the West Coast, running just at 7.982 at 178 mph. Lucky number 13 on the list from Bradenton is this ETK Cake series. With the same turbocharged 4-liter on nitrous and the same 6-speed sequential transmission as the 800 series, the Cake comes in 150 pounds lighter than the 800, so there's a good chance to see exactly what that's worth on a track. It's run a 7.833 so far at Bradenton. Let's see what it's capable of here. ETK Cake series runs a 7.900 at 179 mph. 150 pounds seems to be worth close to a tenth of a second. Out next is the Hochi SPR4. This car has received some new parts, but as I've yet to have a look at those, this version uses a 2.5-liter F4 twin-turbo on nitrous, makes over 1600 brake horsepower, and get ready for another screaming clutch dump because it uses a similar 6-speed sequential transmission to the previous cars. The SPR4 lit the boards with a 7.64 190 mph blast at Bradenton to make the list at number 12. runs a 7.862 at 190 miles per hour. Our first domestic on the list is the Gaval B Series pickup. With a supercharged 6.9 liter V8 on nitrous, the D Series makes over 2,000 brake horsepower. Like all the American-based cars on the list, the truck uses a trans brake to manage the launches, and gears are shifted automatically through a 4-speed drag transmission. In Bradenton, the truck put up a 7.599 at 176 miles per hour to come in at number 11 on the list. Series runs a 7.556 at 176 miles per hour to become the first of today's cars to improve on what they were able to do in Bradenton. One of the most fun cars you could possibly drive, this cute little thing, is the Autobell Piccolina. It's fitted with a twin-turbo 2.5 liter F4 on nitrous, making over 1,200 brake horsepower, with gears shifted to a racing 6-speed sequential transmission. In Bradenton, it made number 10 on the list after a 759 at an amazing 197 miles per hour. If you can keep this thing straight, it's a little rocking. If you don't, that's another story. The Autobell Piccolina duplicates its ET from Bradenton with another 7.599 second, 197 mile per hour blast. There was nothing boring about that one. Next car up is the sporty Chaveta Bleed. With a twin-turbo 3.9 liter V8 on nitrous, the Bleed is packing almost 1,700 brake horsepower, with gears shifted to a 5-speed manual transmission. In Bradenton, the Bleed made the list at number 9 after a 7.466 198 mile per hour blast. I've since gotten some more performance out of this car, but this setup is as it was for the fastest drag car series. The Bleed runs a 7.573 at 199 miles per hour. That brings us to Porky. Porky is a Burnside Special, fitted with a supercharged 423 cubic inch V8 on nitrous. It makes close to 1,900 brake horsepower and made the list at number 8 in Bradenton with a 7.299 188 mile per hour pass. If you're going to give this car a try, for reasons you're about to see, I recommend pointing it to the left as you stage it. Porky runs a 7.384 at 187 miles per hour here on the West Coast Strip. Out next is our Uber beater, the Gavel Grand Marshal. The supercharged 6.9 liter V8 makes over 1800 brake horsepower, and this is the only car here today that does not make the use of nitrous, as it tends to blow up at the mere mention of it. That didn't stop it from making the list at number 7 in Bradenton, however, after a 7.24 second 187 mile per hour pass. Grand Marshal runs a 7.297 at 187 miles per hour. Representing the 5.0 here today is a Buuck L Bastion. Running a twin-turbo 6.5 liter V8 on nitrous, the Bastion is making over 2100 brake horsepower. While it's one of the most powerful cars on the list, it's also one of the heavier. In Bradenton it made the list at number 6 after running 7.216 at 190 miles per hour. Bastion runs a 7.303 at 190 miles per hour. Our other Uber beater here today, in the channel's OG car, is the Gavel Buuck. With a supercharged 423 cubic inch V8 on nitrous, the taxi makes a little under 1800 brake horsepower. Another chassis twister, the Buuck made the list of Bradenton on the strength of a 7.21 second, 183 mile per hour pass. Buuck runs a 7.281 at 183 miles per hour. Out next is the only new build for this video, and that's the Abishu 200BX. Game updates forced me back to the drawing board with this one. Now with the option to fit a turbocharged 5.5 liter V8 on nitrous that makes 1287 brake horsepower with an automatic drag transmission, rather than the now 1280 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder, I went with the V8 for this. The 4-cylinder manually shifted combo put it on the list of Bradenton at number 4 with a 7.166 193 mile per hour blast. Let's see if the V8 is at least comparable. The 200BX runs a 7.271 at 188 miles per hour. Here is a Gaval Barracuda. With a supercharged 423 cubic inch V8 on nitrous, the Barracuda makes almost 1900 brake horsepower. At Bradenton it made the list at number 3 after running a 7.115 second 187 mile per hour pass. With an abundance of traction off the line, the nitrous on this thing is carefully timed to come on as quickly as possible at an RPM that won't flip the car over backwards. The Barstow lays down a 7.229 187 mile per hour pass. The quickest and fastest of the American muscle cars in BeamNG is a Gaval Moonhawk. The supercharged 448 cubic inch V8 on nitrous makes over 2400 brake horsepower, and that made the Moonhawk second quickest at Bradenton, running a 6.899 199 mile per hour blast. This is another car I've worked on more since, but for comparison purposes today, it's still running the setup from the fastest drag car series. Moonhawk lays down a 6.909 at a shade under 199 miles per hour here today. The final and fastest car of the day is the so good it's actually kinda unfair Chetta Scintilla. The Scintilla is fitted with a twin-turbo 5-liter V10 on nitrous, making over 2400 brake horsepower with gears shifted to a 6-speed sequential transmission. It easily topped the list of Bradenton, running a 6.38 226 mile per hour pass. The Chaveta Scintilla lights the boards with a 6.424 second, 229 miles per hour pass to finish the day exactly where anybody would expect it, on top once again. That wraps it up for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you're building any of these for yourself, let me know in the comments how you're doing. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep it in your own damn lane.